How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How was your week? It was a loaded question.
Loaded question. Listen, I'm tired. Tired. I want to go retire on an island somewhere. No, my week was productive on so many levels, work-wise and personal stuff. And it'd be great if I wasn't dragged through the media.
That's the good and the bad with the business, right?
My issues. Yeah, it's a little rough. It's like, so here's my day. It's been, my mom passed and we're dealing like with her stuff, and it's emotional. It's something I've procrastinated on through the pandemic, because it was right as the pandemic was happening, right before it. And I just, it was very easy to procrastinate on. And so I finally decided to tackle it. And it's been really rough. It's rough in so many ways. Like, it takes labor, it takes manual labor, it takes emotional labor. It's a lot. And then I'm in line at the grocery store, and our friend Matt Felker texts me, and he's like, "Ah, man, that must really piss you off." And I was like, what must really piss me off? What is it now? And he's like, I'm not going to even mention their name, because these news outlets don't even deserve an extra click. Please don't go looking for the story. Please don't give them extra anything, any traffic on their sites. And they're photographing, me and my 11-year-old in our private garage, going through this and cleaning out stuff and like meaningful things, and, going through this. And I'm just like, that's really ballsy. That garage that they were photographing me in is in Burbank, which is a super conservative town. You could get shot for hiding in somebody's yard in good old Burbank. I know it's become more diverse over the years, but it is still based on a lot of conservatism. And you don't go into people's yards and then photograph their neighbors in their private garage. So that was ballsy. And then you sit there and you go through, like, in your mind, like, oh my God, what was happening that day? What did I do? Was I crying? Was this person watching me, like, crying? Just all of the invasiveness of it all. And, watching my little girl who's innocent to all of this. And it's just so unfair. And, the headline is like, a slimmed down Nicole Eggert seen for the first time, making her first public appearance in 18 months. Public appearance, wow. Going to your garage is not a public appearance.
True.
Okay, let's get that straight. I do go to restaurants every day. I do go to the supermarket. I go to malls. I do have a life. Like, I do live. I go to meetings. I do go do stuff. So my garage is not a public appearance, and I've not been hidden away in my home for 18 months. And but what was gold? What is true gold is reading the comments, because I never normally do that. And I was like, come on, someone's got to agree with me on this. Like, someone's got to be on my side. And all the comments were like, what is wrong with you?
Good.
Cleaning a garage. What do you want her in, the red bikini? Do you want her like in high heels? Like, what is it you're expecting of her while your creeper photographer is hiding in the bushes? And how long were they in the bushes? And like, what is it you expect her to be doing and looking like? So that kind of gave me life. And I was able to laugh it off and go on with my day. Whereas, go ahead.
No, I feel so bad, because moving is number one, the worst thing to do. Moving is so stressful and terrible and exhausting. But then, as you said, your mother passed. I mean, things you're going through are things that are just tearing at your heart. And it's just taken, a mental toll on you. And then your daughter's there watching, her mom going through a tough time, and then you have some guy taking pictures when you're wearing your most comfortable clothing. It's not, I mean, come on, it's so unfair to say the game started. I didn't know the game was going. I didn't know there was an out. There was a business opportunity for somebody else in the situation, It's as you said, there are laws against it, so it's very,
Yeah,
very
there are.
frustrating for you.
Yeah, they broke a couple laws there. They shouldn't be photographing my daughter, or even photographing when a minor is in the presence, and they shouldn't be photographing on private property. But with all that being said, they still do it, and I always just chalk it up to, well, they care that I'm cleaning out my garage.
It means you're
Let's go with
relevant. That's
that.
what it means.
But
You're
like,
relevant.
but honestly, what pissed me off the most, and I'm gonna be just completely transparent, is that they obviously followed me from there to my new place, and that's what pisses me off, is that they probably know where I live now.
Yeah.
So I have
Yeah.
my secret move didn't turn so secret.
Well, you know what? I just realized maybe my feelings should be hurt a little bit, Nicole. You know, you and I met in January for coffee. There were no pictures.
But I picked a good
Damn it.
spot. See, I picked a smart
Yeah, you
spot.
did. You sure did. You sure
Yeah.
did. Damn it.
And,
I guess
you
I'm
know,
not relevant.
the very the very next day, though, this happened to Erika Eleniak, and she
Yeah.
took to Instagram and was really upset. So it made me feel so much more comforted, because I see how hurt this can really hurt people. She was visibly upset. She was really hurt by her story, and that bothers me more than them doing it on me. I'm used to it. My skin is so thick, and I'm so over it. Like the Nicole Eggert is fat stuff is just so old that I don't, it blows off my shoulders. But for her, it's not, and it's new, and we will have her next week, hopefully. Fingers crossed,
Cool.
we'll have her next week, and we can talk about her feelings on it and what she went through, because it's just, bullshit.
You know what? I saw it, and I know, as you said, she's going to join us next week. You've introduced me to her, and she's as sweet as you are. And to watch her crying in front of a camera was so sad to
Yeah.
watch. I felt so bad for her, and I'm like you. I was, say I have thick skin, do whatever you want to me. But man, when you hurt my friends or my family, it's a whole nother story. And she was hurt by it, and it was really hard to watch. It was really hard.
And she's going through some stuff, and it's her story to tell. And that's the thing, is like, people don't realize, like, people are going through things in their life, like, especially today, right now, like, everybody's at this age, right? Like, you're going through life things that are like major, and you probably shouldn't pick on people for stupid shit like the way they look or what they're doing with their day.
Exactly right.
So let's
Exactly
move
right.
on. Let's move on from that mess. We've got a really cool guest today. I was super excited because I always wanted to be a stunt girl.
You want to be a Circus of the Stars. You talked about it.
Yeah,
Forget about acting. Yeah.
right? But even before then, when I was a kid, whenever I was on a show where there needed to be a stunt involved, I always tried to talk my way into being hired as the stunt person. And so much so that the Stunt Guys of America, or what, the union, they got me my own little jacket when I was a kid. And I wish I still had it. Yeah, it was this like brown windbreaker jacket. It had the tan logo on the back. And I was always involved. I always was right there. I didn't take the time off. I stayed on set. And it just always intrigued me. And it seemed so much more fun than like just reading dialogue. Like, you got to do something physical. And so we have Ashley Cusato on, who amazingly, didn't you also do some stunt work on Baywatch, like, coincidentally?
Yes. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Dave. It's good to see you.
Hi.
Thanks for having me today. I did. My career started on Baywatch. I went to UC Santa Barbara and I swam competitively, and then I was asked to be on the show, and I was a beach lifeguard in Malibu. So I was actually a beach lifeguard at the time, and that's how that came about.
I love that. I love that so much. So what was your first, like, did the Baywatch people, did the production just reach out to you and say, oh, hey, we need a stunt? Because I know they always go to lifeguards first, because we always had legit lifeguards on set all the time before stunt people. So did they just like contact you and say, we need XYZ? And you were like, yeah, I'm in?
Yes, pretty much. Basically, it was, Greg Barnett was the stunt coordinator on Baywatch,
Yeah.
and Scott Hubble was very involved as well. And Greg Bonan, of course, the Greg's created Baywatch for anyone at home who isn't familiar, and he was a lifeguard as well. So they created this show years ago, as you know, and they did reach out, and it was for an acting role that required me to do my own stunt work in the ocean. So that's how it all started. It was so I went to school. I actually studied finance and ended up jumping in the entertainment business and was really looking to work also as an actress. And you think, oh, okay, well, what attributes do you have? Like how do you just narrow the pool of who's being considered so that you work more? And I was an athlete, and so it was natural for me to do my own stunts. And so I booked a lot of roles like right away, just doing my own action, whatever that situation was. And in Baywatch's case, it was being whether if it wasn't just being a beach lifeguard, it was some action piece, of course, that happens in the ocean, on the beach. And that's what we were responding to every day as a lifeguard, is all the things that they were writing about. So yeah, it was fun. And Greg Barnett is such a nice guy too.
Such a good guy.
Yeah, such a good guy. Just a good heart.
I just recently saw a picture of him and Momoa on set of that Fast, the new Fast, whatever they call it now. It's like X or something, but the Fast and Furious franchise.
Oh, right.
Them on set. Yeah, and it's just so good. I love seeing, your good friends like doing so well. And yeah, Greg Barnett was everything. Scott Hubble, it's funny because he just came up in a conversation the other day, and I was like, he was my everything in the water. Like, he was everything. I was like, that was my lifeline. I felt safe because he was there. Like, no shark was going to get me because he was going to punch the shark.
He would punch the shark. That's funny.
He would punch the shark for me.
Yeah, that's so sweet. Scott is a wonderful human being, and his family has been a dear friend, and he's been a mentor to me over the years, especially when I first started. And he's such a good guy. So that makes me feel really good that you felt the same way.
Yeah. He was like safety net. Tell him I say hello if you speak to him.
I will.
Yeah,
I will. Yeah,
I love
thrilled to hear that.
That's so good. And yes, and then because we're doing a Baywatch documentary, so we are revisiting everything. And Michael Newman, who also was big for the water. I don't know if you worked with Michael with Numi. He's also a lifeguard.
I know Mike. Mm-hmm. And we used to all swim. We all swam once after college. We all swam up in the Pacific Palisades at training masters or whatever. Mike was always up there as well.
Yeah. So yeah, we've caught up with him with the documentary, and he has a wonderful story that we'll share. And yes, I find that so cool. So what other stuff did you get to do? Because I was always like, I like the guns. I like falling. But some sets won't let you be the actress and the stunt. They're like, no, insurance is cutting this off. You can't do that. And I'm sure it's getting more and more strict these days. But I know back in the 90s, they were a little bit more loosey-goosey with it.
Yeah, I think it depends on the set of circumstance. Sometimes it benefits production to hire someone who can do both. You're killing two birds with one stone. And sometimes it's not, right? There are definitely times that I wake up and I'm driving to set and I think to myself, why do I complicate this for myself, right? Where you're doing everything and you feel like I'd love to just go on set and just say lines sometimes, right? I've thought that too. So it's kind of funny. We both, think the other is, the opposite sometimes. So it just depends on what it is. I mean, on the Baywatch piece, just to wrap that piece up, is then I ended up after doing a role that I was also doing my own stunt work. I ended up doubling for the other actresses. So Yasmin Bleeth, and I think I did a couple things for Gina Lee Nolan at the time. And that was all underwater where you couldn't tell that I was a brunette and she's a little taller than I am. But it always leads to something else. And I think what happens with once you start working as a stunt woman, your skill set expands. And I mean, the skill set's always there if you're an athlete, but it's a matter of what other lanes do you, like, no pun intended, but what other lanes do you swim in? So you do all underwater stunts. And then, I started studying martial arts and, Yoshukai karate. And so you develop that skill, and then you start working on choreographed fight scenes. And it led to Warner Brothers called me to stunt double for Jennifer Aniston in a film, rumor has it, excuse me, and went through stunt driving school with Rick Seaman, who is
Oh,
one of the
fun.
best stunt driving, I guess, coordinators and coaches and training, facilities at the time. And so that opened up car commercials, right? So then it always leads to something else really interesting. Even being harnessed, I remember we did a piece, big international Microsoft spot, and we were harnessed and dropped, 5 stories through the atrium of this beautiful building in downtown LA. So there's all sorts of things it really is an adventure because you don't
Yeah.
know what's gonna come up next.
Yeah, like what's your day gonna be like, right? And they're like, oh, and then we have this other scene where you're gonna roll down a set of stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. Yeah.
Well,
That's
hopefully, going in, there's a general framework as to what's expected, right? Because you obviously always wanna execute a stunt safely. You wanna, be smart about what jobs you take, what jobs you pass on, depending on what your skill is and what your skill level is. Like, I always say, I'll never show up to set, or take a job if I'm not confident I can't do it in the first take, or, nail it right away. Because you don't necessarily need to do a lot of takes of some of these action pieces, and, it's almost better not to
yeah, I was gonna
it's in
say,
the
can we just
right,
do this one and done and
right,
risk
right,
our lives once?
right. I mean, that should be the goal, right? There's no rehearsal necessary. Let's just roll the cameras.
Yeah.
You do a walkthrough, 50%, boom, boom, boom. Here where your marks are, where you need to be, depending on what it is, and shoot it.
I
That's how,
love that. I know.
yeah.
And Greg Barnett is like the best. He's the best of the best in the business. Like he just is such a good guy, and he's so like I love how he would like really walk you through every little thing, because we did a lot of explosion things too on Baywatch. So that was always kind of sketchy, because you're like, well, that thing is going to explode behind me. Like, how do I not get hit in the head?
Right.
So he always was so clear and just so kind and over, making sure we knew exactly what was going to go down and how it was going to go down. So tell us about your, because I saw that you have a Stunt Girl line or something that you're doing.
Yeah. So after, you know, working the business as a stunt woman for a while, you think, well, what else? You always want to expand and develop. Like I said, I'm always interested in developing skills, right? And so I ultimately went into producing as well, and did a documentary film, and then also have the trademark to a brand, Stunt Girl, right? And Stunt Girl's philosophy is that you can be a stunt girl no matter what you choose to do in life. It doesn't mean you have to be an athlete. You don't have to be an actual stunt girl. Being a stunt woman is about reaching your potential, right? And being willing to take risks and stepping outside your comfort zone. And that's the ultimate philosophy of the brand, because I really want it to be able to have be inclusive of everyone. So
Yeah.
yeah. And
I
so we
love
do
that
have,
so much. Where do you find that? Is it stuntgirl.com, or where do you?
yeah, MalibuStuntGirl.com, or you can come to Ashley Love Cusato, Cusato.com. And I have merchandise there. So if you want to wear a little cool little stunt girl shirt and some,
That's so cool.
things that we're launching. And also on my Instagram, Ashley Cusato. So at Ashley Cusato, Cusato. There's also merchandise as well. And we try to keep everybody updated. And I developed a few different shows as well around the brand. So non-scripted and scripted around the franchise, and just looking to build it out and really expand.
Oh, I love that. It's like the Bionic Woman, or like the $6 million man in present day, right?
Right, exactly.
I
Modern
love
day,
those.
right?
Yeah, I live
Yes.
for that. Yeah. And tell us about your doc really quick before.
Sure. Yeah. Major Capers, The Legend of Team Broadminded. And it's a story about a true American hero who had persevered through adversity during a time of civil unrest in the Vietnam era, and rose to become one of the highest decorated Force Recon Marines in history. And so our Marine Corps generals had brought me the story, and we've been really committed to it and finished the documentary. I ended up, writing and directing and producing the film, and it's now on iTunes and other streamers.
So we can see it now.
Yes.
Yes, everybody go check that out. Well, I just love a beautiful woman like yourself, who's also badass, Like that is just so cool. And don't you totally see her as Yasmin's stunt double? When she said that, I was like, yes, I see it. Yeah, I totally see it. And you guys really like, it's funny because we just had my good friend on, Paul Ruddy, who's a casting director. And he was saying that the two most unrecognized departments in the industry is stunts and casting. And that there's no, there's no award. There's nothing for, like, nobody ever thinks that those departments, there's no award for it. And it made my heart cry a little bit, because I was like, those are always my two favorite people, is the casting and stunts, because stunt was so cool. Because when I was a little girl, they would have adults that were small that would be my stunt doubles, and so they would like teach me about stuff and show me stuff. So I don't know, I've always been fascinated with it. I always wished I would have been a stunt woman.
Oh,
I do.
Well, I can feel better. Your neck probably doesn't hurt.
It does. So I really would have been a mess. No, because I took it upon myself to break my back in 3 places in private life. So
I'm sorry.
I was bound to be hurting. I was bound to be broken. It's okay. So, but I love that so much. I'm gonna definitely go check it out and get some of your merch. I want some.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Nicole, very much. And I just appreciate women supporting women as well. It's really nice. Thank you.
It is, and we got to do that. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Absolutely. And I also want to just send my condolences to you and your mom, because I do understand that as well. I lost my father just before the pandemic, and it's hard, and it's a process.
It is. That's both my parents gone now, and such a weird feeling. So my condolences to you also, because it's funny, because I kind of realize, like, you hear people say, oh, my father passed or my mother passed or whatever. And it's like childbirth, where you don't know what anybody's talking about until you experience it. Like, it's just something that's there's no words for it. And so yes, love to everybody who's gone through it, going through it, gonna go through it. And
it's true. You don't know until you are in that position. And I think if there's any silver lining, it's a very powerful process, that transition, when somebody transitions from the physical form to potentially, something greater than what we're living in this dimension, let's say. Who knows, whatever anyone's belief system is. But there is a will that happens. There's a sort of a sheer will of strength. And if we can leave on that point, since we are talking about that in general today, is just when your parents leave you, we always have that feeling of that safety. If you're lucky enough to have a good parent, father, mother, and all of a sudden it's now you are the strength, you are the pillar for your daughter, or if you have a family, and so it's definitely an interesting, it's definitely a powerful experience.
It is. And I don't know about you, but my parents are still nagging me in my dreams. Like, they still come to me in sleep. They don't leave me alone. They have not left me alone yet. So
I'll never forget, as soon as after my dad passed, my friend Danny, actually a commercial director friend of mine, came in. He says, "So how are the dreams going?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You haven't had the dreams yet?" And sure enough, yes, you have reoccurring dreams. You're processing everything. That's interesting.
Oh, my mom is still all over my ass, controlling everything from my sleep. Yes, it is. It's interesting. It's interesting for sure.
Well, we'll have to talk about that another time, but thank you so much for having me. It was really, really great to see both of you.
Yes, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
Look out for your
work. Thank you very much.
What's that? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I'm looking forward to your work in the future too, to check out everything you're doing.
Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We'll stay in touch.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye. That's that was cool. So I have stunt questions for you, because I always find it fascinating. It's, my world has always been sports, and sports people always want to be musicians or actors. And then you always run into actors that want to do something more active, whether it's being a professional baseball player or whatever else. But you've talked about this a few times, how when you were a kid, Circus of the Stars was a big deal.
Yeah.
and at the same time stunts. Now, as a kid who loves the industry that you're in, I used to go to Universal Studios all the time. And one of the things they used to say on the tour at Universal Studios was, Burt Reynolds and Clint Eastwood were both stuntmen who became actors, and their careers, of course, are legendary. But my question is, and I argue with a real close friend of mine about this all the time. He loves the Mission Impossible movies, and he goes, Tom Cruise does all his own stunts. He loves Tom Cruise, thinks Tom Hanks stinks as an actor. Tom Cruise is the greatest actor of all time. We fight about this all the time. I said, nobody hates Tom Hanks but you. And then we go through this whole argument all the time. And I said, there's no way Tom Cruise is doing all these stunts. Who would insure him for this? And we argue about this all the time. So yeah, my question is, when you wanted to do stuff, Nicole, and they said, no, we have somebody that's going to go in your place and do it. What was the argument back? Was it an insurance deal, or we can't afford to injure you? What was the argument back?
It's all of the above. First, let's start with, I'm not Tom Cruise.
Okay.
I'm not Tom Cruise. I don't have the last say in production. I don't have any say. No, but it was funny because I remember one of my first experiences with a stunt person was, I think it was Fantasy Island, one of these Aaron Spelling shows. And I was a kid and I was supposed to be in a tree over a lake or a pond or something. And then the character falls out of the tree and just rolls down into the water. And I was like, I want to do it. Let me do it. I want to get in the water, because me always wanting to be in the water too. And, like I said, they would bring adults in that were smaller in size and that looked, had the physique of a little bit more childlike. And they'd say, no. And I'm like, that tree limb is 5 feet from the water. I can fall in there. I can dive off of there. I could do all kinds of things. And they're like, no, but you can't. And so I would have to watch. But I remember the stunt people always being so gracious and saying to me, this is how we're going to do it. And let me be involved with the process and watch them shoot it. And it was always so fun. And then I remember they said, well, you are going to get into the water because we're going to put you into the pool because we're going to need to do close up. It's going to have to look like this pond. And I remember they filled this swimming pool with blue dye. And I got into the swimming pool and I came out jet blue.
Like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah, like Willy Wonka or a Smurf. I was like, what the hell is this? So, there was its ups and downs with those stunts. But yeah. She fell into the actual lake on the studio a lot. And then I was in a heated swimming pool full of blue dye.
Oh my gosh.
But
oh my gosh. Yeah, that's it's funny. Being a stunt person was something I never dreamed of doing. I know there's a way to fall and everything else that she was talking about I thought was interesting. One of the things I thought was kind of cool was that being a stunt driver, because we've all seen
super cool.
Yeah, right. And then I wonder, okay, let's say I was a stunt driver, you're a stunt driver, and you're driving on the 405. You attempted to make your moves? You know what I mean? I got somewhere to be. Watch this. Literally, you're trained for it.
That's really
the hell
funny.
out of your kids. Yeah.
Well, but are you in the caged car?
That's the difference. Yeah.
You're probably not.
Oh
yeah, no, the stunt work and and until it's wild because this whole Alec Baldwin issue where he shot off this round and it was a real live round, right? Up until then, I always wanted to shoot my own guns. I don't ever want to touch a gun on set again now.
Yeah.
And you realize God, how stupid were we that we were just pointing guns at each other and shooting. But there, you were convinced that there was blanks in there. Why would there ever be a live round on set? And how did it make it to the actor's hands? So I have a lot of sympathy for him. I know a lot of people don't. I do have a lot of sympathy for him because I don't think he sleeps well at night. I don't think that this is something he is in any way, shape, or form proud of or okay with. And I'm sure part of him is ruined. And the lives, I'm sure he does not take this lightly. And I think about that and I'm like, wow, we would just sit there and shoot guns at each other and do this. I've done quite a few movies where there's gun play involved. And this could have happened to anybody at any time. And so for me, it's horrifying. And you always knew, like, you don't point it right at your head or point it too close to anybody, but you do point it in the direction of whatever you're supposed to be shooting. And I've been burned by blanks. They still can like burn you, and there's a fire that comes off of those. So I can't even imagine how live ammunition got on set with that. But that kind of changes things. That really takes the fun out of it all.
Well, a couple things is it now. Like, I've never shot a gun with the blanks in it. I don't know, but you've always heard stories. I mean, when I was growing up, I'm sure you're growing up too, about people that held a gun too close to their body or their head that had blanks in it, and it still would do damage or kill somebody.
Sure.
And which is extremely frightening right there. But the Alec Baldwin thing, and look, I don't know Alec Baldwin. I mean, you can take him or leave him, whatever anyone thinks. And I know people want to bring politics into it, but look, man, there's a life that was lost. Plus, when you think of Alec Baldwin now, who's really honestly a fantastic actor, this is the first thing you're going to think about him the rest of his life, the rest of your life. When you hear his name, is the worst moment that he had zero control over. He had zero control over what happened, and his life is completely damaged. As you mentioned, he probably is not sleeping well at night. Of course he's not.
No, of course not. It's way more about it, more than his reputation. I mean, he has a visual that he's
Exactly
obviously replaying in his mind, right? Like, he did that. He pulled that trigger to somebody he was probably very close with and was working very closely with. And that's devastating. That's horrifying. That's like your worst nightmare. You're there to be doing make-believe, and somehow this turns into real life catastrophe. And all my sympathy goes out to her family, her husband and her family and her kids and everything. And I'm not sure where they stand on it, because this was kind of a topic where I was like, whoa, this is way too heavy. This is way too close to home. And I didn't follow that closely, because I just knew that this was just a travesty all around. But I don't even know did that family want justice? Like, did they want him to go to jail?
I don't know all the details. I just think just on the surface, multiple lives were ruined. And
Multiple lives were ruined.
And this was not Alec Baldwin's choice,
No.
And that's the sad part. Something horrible happened, and that was not his choice. Where usually we can say, hey, this person made a bad decision on this day, and this is why this happened. This wasn't his decision to change his whole life upside down.
I think there's the argument of that he should have checked his own gun. But the thing about that is when you're on set and there's gun safety, they come up and they show you. And are you, like, when you're ready to roll and you're ready to shoot, you're in the moment, you're trusting that they're doing their job, are you actually checking the bullets? Because they do look very similar. Just one is flat on the end and one is rounded. And like, if you're just seeing them in a chamber, like, it's wild. And you think about it and you're like, yes, you're holding a weapon in your hand. Okay, probably we should be checking this over and carefully and double checking it, triple checking it, like making sure that gun doesn't go anywhere else besides your own hands. But it wasn't like that. This is make-believe. This is Hollywood. This is not real. And you're doing a job, and it's all fun and games until it's not. And I don't know. I have a lot of empathy goes out to him and to her family and to everybody on set that witnessed it and experienced it, quite honestly.
Speaking from just my point, who's never, held a gun that had blanks in it. Again, I have no idea. I wouldn't think, Nicole, for a second there could possibly be a live round. I'd be thinking in my mind, all right, show me the gun. I've seen it a million times. I got to hit my mark. I got to remember my lines. We got to get the best scene we could possibly get. The gun is the least of my concerns, because this has never happened before. So why would I be so concerned about something that has never, ever happened before?
Right. But the one thing I did read about on that set, because they were out on location, that they were doing real live rounds. They were doing like target practice. So that's something that's different than any other normal set like that I've ever been on. There's never been a live round on any set, but I guess because they were out in the big open, wide open, and they were doing target practice, so they did bring live rounds on. But still, you really trust in that gun wrangler. Like, that's their job. That's their job, to make sure that no live rounds go on set. No live rounds are pointed at anybody. So, and and that person's life, like, pretty positive they didn't do it on purpose. And their life is ruined, even though they're the one at fault. And everybody who had to witness it and experience it and who had been on sets and been around gunfire plenty of times, it's changed them forever. It's just
Exactly right.
Yeah, completely wild and sad.
Exactly right. All right, I have a couple questions for you before we get to your mailbag. Just my
Okay.
random questions. One is Derek Jeter, okay, former Yankee, okay, and here here's the story. I used to run on my sports show all the time. Used to be, if you could be any athlete in the world, who would you be? And it was 90 something percent was always Derek Jeter. People would call in and say Derek Jeter because not only was he playing in the number one media market, he played the number one position, playing shortstop, played for the New York Yankees, the most famous franchise, but everybody knew about the girls that Derek Jeter used to date. And then all of a sudden, I find out, Nicole, you knew Derek Jeter. So you got to help us out here. All right. Again, he was the guy. Overwhelmingly, 9 out of 10 guys would say they want to be Derek Jeter because of course, the baseball, but also the women. What was Derek Jeter like?
Well, first of all, I met him. He approached me at Dennis Rodman's bar in Newport Beach,
Okay.
California.
Was
And
this during baseball season or during the off season? Do you have any idea?
it had to be during baseball because they had to be there playing the Dodgers.
The Angels. Well, probably the Angels. American League team. Yeah, probably there.
We went to a Dodgers game. Okay, but maybe the Angels. You know better than I do. Yeah, so they're down there, but they always stayed in Orange County, whether they were playing in LA or I don't know. They loved it down there. And he approached me, and I just was like, "Oh, he looked like a tall, good-looking guy." That's all. Like, I had no idea who he was. I had no clue whatsoever about a Yankee. Anything.
Do you know what year this is? Around what year?
No, I don't know what year it is. But he was like player number one. He wore the number one on his back. I don't know. My friend
two.
Cord Hummelston text me and tell me what year this was because when I went out to New York to go see a Yankees game, I brought Cord with me and his wife. No, I mean he was very like kid-like. I don't know how else to say it. He was like super playful. And then I was like, okay, so he was good looking. I mean, let's just be honest, aside from anything you would know about him, he's a good looking guy. So I accepted a date with him, and it just, everything was baseball. And I knew nothing or cared anything about baseball.
Idiot.
He hadn't yet traveled out of the country. He was like, yeah, I went to Puerto Rico. And I was like, Puerto Rico is the United States, buddy. So there wasn't a lot in common, and but we hung out a bit. We met in Orange County. I went to a game there. He flew me out to New York, which was funny too, because he was like, wait till you see the planes. They're like every other row of seating. I was like, I don't think they're gonna like fly me out on your team plane, but I don't think when you just book with, whatever airline it is, that they're just gonna put me on the team plane. Of course it wasn't. It was a regular flight. But so I went out there. It was fun. We hung out. And then saw him again here in LA again for a Dodger game for sure. And, there was nothing in common.
not a lot.
Yeah. Other than like two good looking people hanging out.
Did you pay attention to his career after that, about, the list of the famous women that the Jessica Albas, the Jessica Biels, and just on and on and on?
I mean, stuff that's unavoidable that like just is on your computer screen or whatever when you open, but I didn't go into depth of reading about it or anything like that. Nice guy, gentleman, nice guy, good guy. I'm happy for him and his success, and it looks like he's got this beautiful family, and he came from a great family. He always spoke highly of his family. So all of those things, as a friend, great. I have like nothing but positive, as a dating prospect, it was sort of a dead end.
It wasn't a match. A match. That's funny. All right. Here's another random question for you, because this happened to me this week and you were kind of involved in it. Have you ever texted someone and talking about another person, but the person you're talking about it went to them? And just a quick backstory: I was writing to someone about you,
Yeah. I was like,
and
I was involved. I was directly involved.
it didn't realize it. So just to let everyone else in, so Nicole's on the text, my son Josh is on the text, and me, and I was responding to somebody else about you, and you had no idea I was talking to someone about you, but I sent it to you and to Josh. And then Josh wrote me privately, and I said nice things, thank God. But Josh said to me privately in another text right after, holy shit, that could have gone really bad. I was like, yeah, it could have, but no, my true feelings came out that I was saying how great you were. But in my mind afterwards, when you guys started laughing about it, I was like, holy shit.
This could have been bad.
This could have been bad, and other people could have done it. And I was like, I wonder if Nicole's ever done this too. I think other people have done this, can relate to this.
I've done this, and mine was
You've
bad.
done it.
Mine was
Yours
bad.
was bad.
Mine
Was it a
bad.
girl or guy you were talking about?
A girl.
Okay.
It was a friend who I had just had it with. I mean, listen, she was not a good friend. This friendship needed to end anyways. And I was talking about her and sent it to her.
Oh shit.
And it was like, I was.
Who did you realize it right after you pushed send, or did she call you?
I called her names.
Oh shit. Did she contact you, or did you realize, oh fuck, I just put send to the wrong person?
No, she said, what?
Oh fuck.
She wrote back, are you talking to me? And I was like, because it's so easily done, right?
Yeah. Oh,
When
I'm
you've
so
got
embarrassed right
friends
now for
going
you.
on. Yeah, because she was texting me about something again that was completely opportunistic and completely like bullshit and just the same kind of behavior she was always, showing and whatever. I knew I had to be done with this, but I was texting with somebody else about it. So they were right next to each other. And I sent it to her. I pressed send. Sent it. But you know what? At the end of the day, it was a blessing because it nipped it in the bud. I was honest, even though I wasn't ready to like be that fully honest. I was, and she could see it and saw how I felt. And I don't ever have to talk to her again.
Yeah. There you go. Holy shit. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh
Yeah.
my God. There you go. At least I'm not the only one that did it, but at least mine wasn't terrible. Holy shit. That is funny. But you're right. Now you don't have to deal with a toxic person, so it worked out for the best.
Yeah, it's over. It's all good.
Oh my God.
I should have done it from the beginning. Yeah, today would have been a much different day, wouldn't it be, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm an asshole, but we put up with her.
You would have been introduced a new co-host. All right, let's knock out this mailbag. Again, if you want to ask Nicole a question, all you have to do is go to the website perfectlytwistedpod.com. Mailbag's right there. It's right in the front. You can't miss it. I have a list of questions for you. This one is from Carter Lennox. It says, being a star in the right age, did you ever audition for Beverly Hills 90210 or Melrose Place?
I didn't. I actually did not. I'm pretty sure Aaron brought me in for everything else. A lot of the stuff that came through Aaron's office were offers. He would just send me to do a guest appearance on all of it. But he would bring me into his office and try to find a show for me. But no, I never actually like auditioned in front of him for anything in particular.
I think you would have been perfect for both those shows. Both those shows seem like you would have fit right in.
Yeah. But I might have been a little bit too old for 90210 because that was more like my sister's genre. Like those girls are younger than
that was about 92. It was about 92. I hate to say it, Nicole. I've watched every one. I never missed one.
No, I didn't.
I'm embarrassed to say that I watched. Yeah. There you go. That was it. But to me, you would have fit right in perfectly with them. But at the time, tell me if I'm wrong, the actors they chose for 90210 were really kind of unknown. So it wasn't like so and so. Like if you would have been on that show, people would have recognized you from previous work.
And maybe that has something to do with it as well, because I would have been coming right out of Baywatch.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's not what they were going for.
All right, next question. As a mom, what do you let your daughters watch when they grew up?
Well, that's funny because I swear to God, my life is on this like broken record repeat. So my youngest likes all the exact same shows my oldest liked. So it's Hannah Montana, it's Zoe 101, it's all um, those Disney shows. Even like Pokemon, My Little Ponies. All of this is like I'm repeating everything. Like there's been nothing new introduced, and what was old is new again, and it's all just come right back around. So the little TV that my daughter does watch, like the other day, she asked me, "Can I watch Mean Girls?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know. I got it. I have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
Let me rewatch it, and then I'll get back to you." So, that's a tough one. I'm actually doing a podcast this week on about what you let your kids watch and what movies are okay and what are not okay. And it's kind of wild what we used to watch and used to be acceptable, and it's just really not anymore. So
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're
yeah.
absolutely right. All right, it's funny. We kind of talked about this at the beginning of the show, but the question is: so many people comment on your body. Do you hate that part of the business?
Um no, what part of the business I hate is the aging, that they shame women for aging. The body, like, listen, everybody gets a little pear-shaped, and that's, you can change that, right? You can work on that. You can always lose weight. That's not like a thing. So if someone really cares that much, they can work on it and figure it out. But I think it's more of like the aging. But it is kind of stupid when they take a picture of you at 51 and put it next to you when you're 21, and you're like, and what to me makes me laugh even worse is I'm like, my body was way better at 35 than it was at 21.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to compare, after I had my first baby, my body like changed and turned into like this machine, and I worked out a lot. I just became more of like a woman than when I was 21. So go ahead and put me next to the 21. I prefer 35-year-old next to me.
I like it. I like it that you can know the exact age. As a guy, same thing. I know the exact age where I thought I was at my best.
Yeah.
Did you ever turn down a job that later became a huge hit?
I don't know if I turned down the jobs necessarily, but there were like ET was a big one that I was like right there. Boogie
Wow.
Nights, American
Boogie
History
Nights.
X. Like I screen tested for all of these, and
Wow.
was like down to the wire and didn't get them. And there was a reason why, and I'm gonna let that be in the universe. Is like there's a reason why. So, but they were really great experiences, and yeah, I really wanted to do American History X really bad, but and Boogie Nights I would have, and ET, like, oh my god, and
Yeah, no kidding.
yeah, and then there were a ton of movies of the week, so I could go on and on, like The Burning Bed, uh, the Amityville Horror. That was another one I was going
Wow.
back and back and testing and testing. Um, so yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot I wanted and didn't get, but I don't think I turned them down. That's not how it rolled out.
In Boogie Nights, did you know what role it was? Would it have been Heather
Roller
Graham's
Girl.
role?
It was
Roller
Roller
Girl.
Girl.
So obviously there's nudity in that one. Would that have been an issue for you? No?
No, I was hot. I was like in my 30s. Let's take it
Yeah.
off. Let's roller skate.
All right. Last question for you. What would be your bucket list job in this industry?
Oh, okay. Bucket list job would be to produce something that's really successful and amazing, and not necessarily be in it, but have been part of the creative process. That's a huge bucket list for me. And then second, like as an actress, to be in a Wes Anderson film.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
It's my all-time like that's my all-time like dream. If he would ever have me, that's what I would want to do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Well, we knocked out another one. And next week, I'm excited about Erika joining us. I think
Me
she's
too.
obviously in the news, and I give her credit for, I know she's a friend of yours, but for even coming on and discussing what's been a terrible week for her. So I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, I want to give her the platform to be able to like speak her mind and, you know, get her feelings out there, because she's got some feelings about it. And so guys, please subscribe to us. Don't forget about us. Tell your friends about us.
There you go.
We will see you
There-
next week.